So now there's an attorney general's race that's going on here in Michigan, and there's a great candidate. Her name is Dana Nessel. Now she has been making some waves among progressives. Now last year, for example, she put out an ad, which some would say is a little controversial, but it's a lot of fun. Let's take a look at that ad, and then we'll break it down.
So, when you're choosing Michigan's next Attorney General, ask yourself this. Who can you trust most not to show you their penis in a professional setting? Is it the candidate who doesn't have a penis? I'd say so. Some people will tell you I can't be the Democratic nominee for Attorney General here in Michigan because we can't have an all-female ticket for statewide office in 2018. Pundits and insiders are asking, can we afford to have a female governor, a female attorney general, and a female secretary of state? Well, I read the news, and I bet you do too. And it has me wondering, can we afford not to? Now, if you want to know more about what I'll do as Michigan Attorney General, head to dana2018.com. But right now, I want to tell you what you can expect me not to do. I will not sexually harass my staff, and I won't tolerate it in your workplace either. I won't walk around in a half-open bathrobe, and I'll continue to take all sex crimes seriously, just like I did as a prosecutor. You won't find me using your hard-earned tax dollars to silence victims or join right-wing lawsuits that make it harder for you to get health insurance. I'll be too busy doing what I've always done, going to bat for the people who need it most and winning. Yes, I'm a woman. That's not a liability, that's an asset. I'm Dana Nessel. I approve of putting more women on the ticket in November, and I approve this message.
Hey man, I will not show you my penis. Awesome. But, okay, so look, that ad got a lot of traction. It actually went viral about November of last year. So, now, she's making waves in other ways. Actually, she's an incredibly serious candidate who, look, isn't just worried about sexual harassment, right? Earlier this month, Nessel suggested that we go after pharmaceutical companies for their role in the opioid crisis. Now, in Michigan, of course, we have a law that protects those companies against lawsuits. Now, she said of those laws, quote, we need to repeal those kind of protections, and we need to do what the other attorneys general are doing, which is go after the pharmaceutical companies and make them pay for what they've done, for the carnage they have ravaged on our communities. So that is an incredibly strong position. Now, I'd love to see more attorneys generals. I'd love to see more congressmen take the position of, hey, you know, let's go after the real drug traffickers, those pharmaceutical companies. So now, not only that, but she said that she would join other suits by Democratic attorney generals in areas such as immigration, Health and Human Services Department, rollback of Affordable Care Act subsidies, Department of Education, rollback of protections for student loan borrowers, and the FCC's push to repeal net neutrality. She's like, hey, you know what? Let's actually fight for these issues. Let's fight for net neutrality. Let's fight against the Department of Education's rollback of protections for student loan borrowers. Let's help out the students. Let's do all this stuff. She said that there's lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit other states are filing when our consumers are harmed against some of the big international corporations that our AG doesn't join in, which is currently a Republican. So our state loses out on those settlements. That's money that could be going to indemnify our state residents when they're harmed. That's money that could be going into our state treasury that we miss out on. So look, that's some of her positions, which are incredibly progressive. So now what's important is she's running against, of course, an establishment candidate. Now, it's not necessarily a primary in Michigan like we would expect from other states. Actually, what happens is that on April 15th, there will be a Democratic convention in Detroit. Now, that convention will allow the people who are part of the Democratic Party to choose who they wish to go and run up against a Republican. So now one of her candidates, who was a man named Patrick Miles, he's not a progressive. He's actually the establishment candidate and will likely lose against a Republican, at least in my view. If people don't get involved and join the party and vote against him, like they did in California when it came to the Pelosi, the Feinstein endorsement, well, then it's very likely that we're going to have an establishment candidate for AG in Michigan. Now, there's a way that you can change that. You can actually be a party member by March 15th. So that's 3 days from now. So it's pretty easy to sign up. You can go through her site, Dana2018.com, if you want to actually sign up. And even if you don't vote for Dana, then you can still go in and actually use your voice in the party to actually change things. Okay. Now, some of her other positions, cannabis, for example. She recently got an endorsement from Am I Legalized? Now, of all the candidates, they said Dana Nessel has shown up early and often for the campaign to legalize cannabis in Michigan. Am I Legalized board member Tammy Vandenberg said in a press release. Nessel has also displayed a key understanding of the harms done to our communities due to prohibitionist policies. Now, her opponent, as I said before, Patrick Miles, well, he was recently anti-marijuana, but guess what? He switched his position. What he used to do is prosecute caregivers who were in compliance under state law. We have legal medicinal marijuana here in Michigan. He went after those people anyway. No, we're going to prosecute caregivers. So look, him switching his position, that's a bit of a sign of the times, right? And it's pressure from the left, from activists, and from also Nessel running to the left of him. And it actually seems to be working. So look, if progressives take over the state Democratic convention on the 15th and they nominate Nessel, that's going to send a big message to the corporate establishment. Look, it happened in California. Made huge news. It could happen in Michigan, which right now, everybody sees it as now a red state. Because, look, we're under complete Republican control. And yet, at the same time, you have to remember, in Michigan, we also gave an upset victory to Bernie Sanders, to progressives. So, but look, you can only get progressives on the ballot if you actually join up. Now, if you're a member of the Michigan Democratic Party and you want to nominate somebody other than the establishment, then you got to join up in the party. And I know it's not an exciting prospect for a lot of us, but if you want change, that's the only way that it's going to happen, at least here in our state. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.